Hello, future author. How long have you wanted to write your book? Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe three, maybe four, maybe 5, 10, 15, maybe even 25, like one of my recent clients. How long has this dream of writing a book been on your heart? Well, in this series of videos, you are going to learn simple tips and techniques that are going to help you get out of dreamland and make your book a reality. Now, I'm Zarinah El-Amin, Naeem, author and publisher. So to publish successfully in today's market, you need to do a few things. You need to get your information out of your head and down onto paper. You need to fine tune and polish that manuscript so that it's in a readable format that someone else would actually want to read. Then you need to attract an audience and make sales. So it sounds simple, right? And it is. Really, publishing is not rocket science, but there are specific details that you need to follow, and you want to do them in a certain way so that you don't waste time or money publishing your book. Now, the first thing, though, is not necessarily the how-to of publishing. We're going to come to that in future videos, so you're going to be fine in learning how to publish. That's fine. But what I need for you to get at is the why. And the why that feels good for you. Because this author mindset, building up your inner author armor, is the first thing that you can do to make sure that you're going to be successful in publishing your book. Now, what do I mean about building up your inner author armor? And how do you go about doing that? Well, a lot of people come to me and they say, hey Z, I really want to publish my book. I've been thinking about it for a really long time, but I don't know how to reach my market. I'm too shy to kind of go out there and market. Or I'm not an expert. I don't have a PhD in this topic, so who's going to really listen to me? Or I'm not a big name. I don't have a huge following. I'm not Steve Harvey, but I want to write a book about relationships. Who's going to listen to me because I don't have a really big name? Or maybe I don't have deep pockets. I'm kind of semi-broke and I don't really have a lot of money to publish my book. I've heard basically every excuse, because I call them excuses really. I've heard basically every excuse in the book. And the reason that I'm a little bit harsh on folks when they come to me is because if you truly decide that you want to do something, the universe will go with your whim. The universe will support you in achieving the goals that you set out to do. So what's the first thing that you need to do? The first thing that you have to do is decide. You have to decide that you are going to publish this book. So what I mean is that get it into your mind that I can publish this book. I am going to hold my book in my hand within the next 6 to 12 months. You are going to hold your book in your hands, yes, within the next 6 to 12 months. So we're not going to live in dreamland forever, right? We're coming down into reality. All right. Now, we're not going to push those little fears and those things aside that easily, though, because some of them may be some things that we need to work through. And I want for you all to be able to work through those so that we can get to the exercise and get to the reality, the dream, rather, of actually having our book. So if you can, right now, I want you to take a piece of paper, grab a piece of paper, and I want you to think. I want you to dream and I want you to explore. So first, we're going to imagine that 6 months from now, you are holding your book. Maybe you're doing some book signings at Barnes & Noble. Maybe you're Googling, going to Amazon, and you're seeing your book pop up. Maybe people are now sending you emails about how your book really touched them and helped them do whatever they wanted to do in their life. So I want you to imagine and sit in that space for a moment. What does it feel like for you? Feel that success. Feel that sense of accomplishment that you set out to create this book and you actually did it. And now it's making a difference in someone else's life. I want you to feel that for you. If you can right now, go ahead and write down how that feels for you. Put it into words. So pause the video and put it into words. Now, the second thing that I would like for you all to do is to go back to those fears. What are some things that could be holding you back, maybe sabotaging your efforts to actually get this book done? I want you to bring up those fears because you need to address them. We don't say that fears don't exist. However, we move through our fear to where we're going to get. So take out a piece of paper or on the same sheet of paper and write down anything anything that comes to mind for you that has been either holding you back or stopping you from publishing this book. Maybe for some of you it's finances. Maybe for some of you it's more inner stuff. I don't have a PhD. I don't know what people are going to think about me. I don't want to deal with the response that may come from publishing the book. So whatever the fears are that you have, maybe I'm not really even an author. I don't really know how to write. Now, editors help you with that part, so don't worry about that. Your job is just to get it out of your head and down onto paper. Trust me with that. But maybe that's a fear for you. So whatever the fears are for you, I want you to write those down on a piece of paper now. Okay, so you've written down all of your fears, right? But you've also written down how awesome it's going to feel to when you actually publish this book. So you have the feeling of awesomeness on one side, and then you have these fears on the other side. So what I want you to do with the fear paper, the paper that you had and you wrote your fears, if it's on the same sheet of paper, separate them. Separate the dream from that fear stuff. And I want you to ball up those fears, and I want you to throw it away. I'm serious. I want you to ball up the fears, and I want you to throw it away. Now, the reason that we're doing that is because I want your whole body in this process of publishing this book. Because this is the thing. There's 80% of the American population alone. 80% of the American population alone say that they want to publish a book. There's what, like over 300 million people in this country, so that's 80, that's like over 240 million people that want to publish a book. 240 million people. That's a lot of people that say they want to do this thing that you want to do. So you're in a huge number. So what is it that's going to make you different from that large 240 million people group? How are you going to set yourself apart and go from actually dreaming about creating this book to actually holding your book in hand? And you have to have the mindset. And that's why this video is focusing on helping you create your author mindset, to build up your inner author armor. That's what I call it, your inner author armor, so that you can plow through any fears, plow through any challenges that may come in your way, and you will be able to achieve this goal of having your book so that you can reap the benefits. Now, what are some of the benefits? Because some of you are saying, like, she's talking a lot about challenges and I don't want to deal with that. Like, I want to know what's the good stuff, So what are some of the benefits of publishing a book? Now, there are several things that you are going to achieve from publishing your book. One is that you can set yourself as an expert in your particular field. So having a book on your topic that you're writing about is something that's going to tell and signal to other people that, hey, I know what I'm talking about in this area. So you're going to be labeled as an expert on this topic that you write about. Another reason is that you will be able to leave a legacy for your future generations. Imagine writing a memoir or even a simple little book about your life story in your own words, so that your great, 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 great grandchildren can learn about you from you, not from anyone else. How powerful is that? I would have loved to have learned about my great, great, great grands from something that they wrote. So you have that power now to write down your story for your future generations. Now, another thing that you can gain from publishing your book is being able to escape maybe a career or a job that you really don't like. So let's say that you're working in a particular area that you just hate. You're getting up every day, you're going to this job that you don't really like, is really draining all the energy, is draining all the love out of you, and you don't like it. You want to move into something else. So one way that you can quickly establish yourself in that new area is to write a book on that subject. Because when you write that book on that subject, it's going to signal that, hey, this is someone that knows what they're talking about. You will also be able to attract media, because media love authors. You think about it. Every time you look on the news, somebody is saying, I'm the author of such and such and such and such. So media love authors. So you writing this book is going to allow you to create a new life for yourself. It may not come instantly like that. A lot of people sell these pipe dreams like, 2 weeks and you'll have the whole new life. I say it takes a few months or so. You can really create your whole new life in a few months if you go about the steps that you need to do in a particular order. You can do that, but it takes some inner gumption, right? It takes some feeling that you need to put into it. So that's maybe another goal for you, is to get out of that rat race of the 9 to 5 job that you hate and really create a life that you love. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself, how I came to publishing, because my story is maybe like yours. I really kind of happened into publishing. I was doing my master's thesis in anthropology. And if you all know about academia, you create your final thesis around a subject that is related to your particular field. So I was doing anthropology. Anthropology is the study of humankind. That's something that I love to get to know more about. I want to know about the similarities between humans as well as deeper cultures. That's my thing, right? So I was doing a study about single Muslims. I wanted to know why it was that there were so many Muslims in America that were single and were struggling to find a spouse. So I conducted studies for about 18 months or so, really. I was reading every book about singlehood from not only the Muslim community, but the Christian community all over. I was reading about marriage. I was reading about ways that parents rear their children into right and wrong. So I was reading about all these things, and I also began to conduct interviews with folks all around the country about what it means for them when they're single. How do they react to that? What are some of their struggles? What were some of their challenges? Things that I thought would be useful for this thesis. So I did that for about 18 months, combined all of that into my thesis. I worked back and forth with my professors, piled it all up, compiled it all up, and then I got it approved and I graduated. So yay, right? So if you know anything about academia, you know that when you finish and you have that master's thesis in hand, normally the only people that read it are your professors, maybe some of the other students, and maybe your mama if you're lucky. If you're lucky, because she may think it's boring. So if you're lucky, maybe your mama will read it. My mom read mine, but maybe your mom will read it. So usually the theses just end up on the university library system collecting dust. Well, I didn't want that for mine. I'm like, hey, I put my heart and soul into this book. I put a lot of effort. Also, people were asking me for the information. They were calling me saying, hey, Z, I know you were doing that study. Well, what did you find? Because I'm still struggling, girl. People were emailing me, asking me about the results. So I felt that I had a responsibility. People had trusted me. They gave me their time. They allowed me to interview them. And I felt like they should be able to receive the information. Now, I could have just took my thesis to Kinko's and bound it up and passed it out. Hey, here you go. I could have done it that way. But being a perfectionist that I am, I realized that probably wasn't going to be the most attractive thing for many people. That wasn't going to really give it even the credence that I wanted to give it. I had put a lot of effort into that, and I'm sure that you too have been thinking a lot about your topic and your book, and you're going to be putting effort into it. So you want it to be presented in the best way possible. So I decided to publish my book. Now, I thought about traditional publishing, and then I started looking up self-publishing or indie publishing. And for me, traditional publishing wasn't the route that I wanted to go. One, I already had my message clear and set in my thesis that I wanted to present. I didn't want anyone changing my message. I didn't want anyone changing my tone or telling me I couldn't put this part in there or add this other stuff to make it more appealing for their pocketbook. I wanted full creative control over my product that I was going to be putting out. Also, I wanted to be able to put my book out in a specific amount of time. There was a big conference that was coming up that I knew people wanted to know about my subject. So I wanted to be able to publish my book in a particular amount of time so I could reach that conference. If I had decided to go down the traditional publishing route, it would have been at least 18 to maybe 2 years or so at the least, probably, that I would have been able to get my book out there. I didn't have that time. I wasn't wasting time. I wanted to be able to do it in my own time. So self-publishing was the route for me. And like many of you all, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I knew absolutely nothing about publishing. I didn't know about ISBNs. I did not know about Baker and Taylor, distributors. I didn't know about editors, how to find the right editor. I didn't know about graphic design. I didn't know that there was a difference between just typing up my stuff in Microsoft Word and the actual professional way to lay out the interior of a book. I knew absolutely nothing about publishing. So what did I do? I read and I researched, right? I began to look up every book that I could find about publishing, anything I could find about writing, anything that I could find about graphic design. Now, I am a DIYer type of person, but also my budget was extremely limited at that time. And so I had to do a lot of the things for myself. I didn't have a large budget, to be able to pay professional folks to do everything that I needed to get done for my book. So I researched and I joined publishing associations, and I learned a lot about the publishing industry in order to get my book completed. But it took a lot of time and it took a lot of effort, and without a mentor, I wasted money. A lot of money on stuff that I had no reason. Like right now, it would be no reason for me to do some of those things that I did before, because I was just trying to piece it all together. I read this from this article, so I would do that. And I, got this from this guy, so I would do that. I had no particular system that I was following for publishing my book. So although I was successful in publishing the book, I got it done, but it wasn't a very efficient process, to say the least. It wasn't the most efficient process. So what is success anyway when you have your book? So when I say I was successful and I published my book, Jihad of the Soul, Singlehood and the Search for Love in Muslim America, my first book. So when I published this book, success for me was being able to share my message in a way that other people would be able to get it and understand it. Now, I was not really concerned about a lot of sales. I wasn't concerned about being a New York Times bestseller at that time. I wasn't concerned about any of that. I just knew that I had a message and I wanted to be able to get that message to the people that could utilize it in a nice and efficient way. So that was my goal, and I was able to achieve that. So Jihad of the Soul is still being sold regularly. It has regular sales. It's also used as a textbook in comparative religion courses. And I launched a pretty good speaking career off of this book. So people were calling and asking me to speak about singlehood. My last book was about marriage. So it was, goes hand in hand. Now, what is success for you in your book? I want you to think about why you're publishing this book and how you're going to measure your success. Because what they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And what I mean by that is that you need to know why you're doing this. Why are you publishing your book? Is it for profit solely? Fine. Is it for legacy solely? Then great. Do you just want to get your message out there in the broadest sense that you can and reach the most amount of people that you can? Then great. But whatever those reasons are for you, I want you to know them so that you can return to them whenever something comes up. Because I'm not going to sell you on this dream that like publishing, you can just do it, and everything just falls into place like la la la, simply. That's not really true. If it were true, all 240 million people who want to publish their books would be doing it. But it's not that simple. So what I mean is that what this video is all about mindset. It's about helping you to build up your inner author armor and getting into the successful mindset. So if you haven't downloaded the book, The 3 Secret Publishing Tips, go ahead and download that, because step 1, secret 1, in that book is all about getting to know the why. And yes, some of you guys are like, well, when are we going to get to the how? I want to know the how. I understand. And we're going to come to parts of how, especially how you can write your book draft quickly in the next video. But you must fortify yourself and build up your author mindset so that you can be successful. So download that book. I want you to follow the exercises that are there around getting clear on the why and your goals for publishing so that you'll be able to return to that in the later, so that you'll be able to return to that for yourself throughout the process. Also, that book will help you to get more out of this video as well as future videos. So download the book. There should be a link somewhere on this page. Download that and make sure that you go through the exercise in Secret 1. So why books anyway? Why are books so powerful? Why is it that over 240 million people in this country alone say they want to write a book? Why is it that all over the world people are organizing huge publishing conferences and workshops and events in order to promote the love of reading and book publishing? Why is it that books are so powerful? Well, I'll tell you. Think about it. As human beings, we can debate about a lot of things. We can debate about whether God exists or not. We can debate about who should sing the national anthem at the World Cup. We can debate about a lot of different things, but there is one thing that we all know for certain, and that is that each of us shall have a taste of death. Every single one of us is going to pass, and our bodies will no longer function. We know that for certain, right? Well, human beings have, since the beginning of time, always been concerned about how they can share the things that they know with people who may not be near to them in their physical space. How they can share their information with future generations. And so people began to inscribe on clay tablets. People began to write on papyrus. And then they began to do the printing press. And now with technology, we have Amazon Kindle, we have internet, we have blogs, we have all of these things that help people to share their message with folks who are not in their physical space, and hopefully to be able to share that same message and information with people who may not even be in their lifespan. So books have power. You're going to be able to tap into that power with your book, right? We're going to be able to tap into this powerful network of technology that we have now today that allows you at the push of a button to really get your message from your little home, wherever you are, out into the world. And so all across this world, people can then benefit from your message. That is extremely powerful. And that is why you're going to publish this book. One of the reasons that you're going to publish this book is because we have the ability to. And so we're going to get your message out of your head, down onto paper, and we're going to make this book, your book, become a reality. So now I told you guys about how I came to publishing, and I told you all that I was successful in being able to publish my book, Jihad of the Soul. However, there was something that came up for me. When I first began publishing, I only had one child. My husband and I were just starting out. We only had one child. So I had more time and energy to put into publishing. Well, come 2 and then 3 children, my energy, my time, my resources, and my sanity were dwindling. So I didn't have as much time and energy to put into publishing as I did when I first published. But I still had other things that I wanted to put out there. I had a calendar series that I wanted to produce. I had other books that I wanted to create. So I needed to find a new way of going about doing it. I couldn't waste time like I did on my first book, and I couldn't waste money or resources like I did on my first book either. So this led me to create a system that I call the self-publishing system. You guys are here, and I'm going to be sharing with you all things that I take all of my other author clients through so that you all can publish your book successfully. So I came up with this system because it's a hybrid system, and it works for people like me who are busy, who don't have a lot of time, but who want to get their books done with quality. I don't want just some book that's bound up and I say, hey, it's my book. No, we want a quality production. We're not going to sacrifice on quality, but we want to be able to do it efficiently as far as financially as well as energy-wise, because we don't have all unlimited amounts of energy, right? We have to be able to do this in a fast way. So my system really focuses on 5 particular areas. Number 1 is the thing that we're talking about in this video, and that is building up your inner author armor and your author mindset, getting clear on the whys, so that you know why it is you're publishing. Getting clear on the goals, your goals for publishing, because your goals may not be the same as my goals, and that's okay. Whatever it is for you, we want to know that so that you are able to tap into that whenever something else comes up. And also so that you can achieve those goals. If you don't know why you're publishing, you're not going to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So that's the first step, is really getting clear on the why and building up your inner author armor. Our second step is to be able to produce the draft itself. You got to write the thing, because if you don't write it, I mean, yes, you can hire a ghostwriter, and we talk about that, and I'll show you how to hire effectively a ghostwriter if that's what you want to go about. But either way, you have to get the book out of your head and down onto paper. And we don't want to waste time doing that. We don't want to spend a year getting our information out of our head and down onto paper. So we want to go through that in a really clear methodological way so that we're able to write the book draft quickly. Okay, the third thing is that we want to build our book dream team. These are the folks who are going to help us to polish our manuscripts. When you get it down out of your head and onto paper, it's not going to be in the format in which you can actually share it to someone else. So you need to edit that book. And we'll go through some steps in future videos to help you learn how to edit your work properly. Now, the fourth thing that we're going into is we've talked about the book dream team, the folks who are going to help you polish your book. And then we need to talk about the actual production. Who's going to really print your book? Are you going to do an ebook? What is the strategic plan that you can come with that's going to help you achieve the goals that you need to set out for your book within your own budget and your own timeline? Okay, so that's the fourth step. And then our fifth step is one of my favorites, and that is to talk about spin-offs. Really, how you can utilize your book material to generate multiple streams of income and create a passive lifestyle. I live in my own world that I have created for myself. I have freedom to write when I want to write. I can publish my books and I can make money and make a living off of the things that I decide to publish because they are useful and because they are quality productions. So we want the same thing for you if that's part of your goal. I'm location independence and freedom. Those are the two things, and financial freedom. Those are the two things that I go for. I want to be locationally independent and financially free. So whatever it is for you, we want to be able to build up and utilize your book material so that you can achieve those goals. Perhaps you want to launch a speaking career. Perhaps you want to launch a series of workshops around your topic. Maybe you want to create a whole new course or something. Whatever it is, you can utilize your same book material and achieve that larger goal that's going to generate multiple streams of income for you. So we're going to help you create your book first in the way that you can reuse the material, and then also help you to market it so that you can get those things done. So in the next video, I'm going to give you specific techniques that you're going to use to help you write your book draft quickly. Now, we don't want to spend months and years writing our draft. We want to use a specific method so that we can get our books out of our head, down onto paper, and move on to the next step in the process. So you can't have a book without actually getting it out of your head and onto paper. And I'm going to share with you some specific things that you can do in order to achieve that goal quickly. Now, I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that everything that we do, including publishing this book, needs to be on a spiritual basis, because this message was placed on your heart for a reason. And I believe that you have the duty to get that message out there into the world. Otherwise, it wouldn't be placed on your heart, right? Why would you have the message if it wasn't for you to just go out and be able to share that with other people? So we're going to turn writing this book, we're going to turn this into a spiritual act. And the way that we do that first is by saying a prayer. We ask the Creator to bless us. We ask the Creator to guide us in this process so that our books may be of benefit to the population, to not only our community population, but then the broader world at hand. So I want to invite you all to say a prayer with me. Yes, I'm serious. I want to invite you all to say a prayer with me. So repeat after me. O Creator of all. Yes. Okay, if you haven't said it, I want you to open your mouth and actually say it, okay? So, ready? Okay. O Creator of all, I ask for you to open my heart and help me produce a book that will be of benefit not only to myself, but to humanity. I ask for you to remove any impediment from my speech and to make my words clear and of benefit. I ask for you to make this process one that is of ease and peace for myself. Thank you. All right, so yes, we're going to pull on everything that we have in our arsenal to get this book done. And sometimes that may include prayer. So if you're not a spiritual person, then maybe just put that part to the side. But I kind of wrestled with whether I was going to include the spiritual aspects of my publishing process in this program. And in the end, I decided that I have to be true to who I am. And I believe that the spirituality that I bring to my publishing is one of the reasons that I am able to achieve success. So I would be doing a huge disservice to my clients and to you all as well for if I didn't bring that to you, if I didn't share that with you. So I appreciate you all allowing me to be my full self within this publishing series of videos for you. Now in the next video, as I said, we're going to talk about writing. In the future videos, we're going to talk about marketing. And then I'm also going to be sharing with you all my full publishing system. For those of you all who are ready and you really want to get out of dreamland and take your book from idea to reality, you want to take your book from idea to reality, I am going to invite you all to join me in the program. So follow the series of videos, do the exercises that I lay out for you so that you can reap the full benefit. We'll see you in the next video.